and welcome back to my channel. Today it is time for my February houseplant collection updates, where I let you know what's going on right now in my collection. Whether it be good, bad, ugly, pretty, or whatever. I don't even know what we're gonna find. So let's go on this little adventure together. Before we do though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanting content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanting journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back, I really appreciate it. Let's turn this camera around and get into it. Figure we may as well start in this zone because we're here. The main thing right now is that my Glorious just popped out this new leaf. Look at that. It is still sizing up. It's not quite hardened off yet, but it is so tall, like nearly touching the ceiling. This leaf, whenever it does come out, which might be maybe like next month time, will probably touch the ceiling. So I think I'm going to have to find a new location for my Glorious because I am not ready to chop and extend it again quite yet. It's just not quite there yet. It's also got this beautiful new leaf, and then I think one there too. Just popping out new leaves left and right, this one. But like I said, I need to find it a new home. I'm really not sure where I want to put it yet, but it's something that's just on my mind right now, and I will figure out eventually, I think, I hope. I've also got a new leaf on my Philodendron Martianum. This guy, popping out a new leaf at the minute, which is great. It's doing really well here, but I don't know how much I'm loving it at the minute. I feel like I might not love this one as much as I love my Melaloni, my Fat Boy, not Fat Boy. I feel like I just love this one so much more than I do my Fat Boy. So I don't know, but for now we're gonna enjoy that new leaf coming in and this whole area. Basically, since I decided to put my Regal here, I feel like it has been much happier, and I also did cut off the leaf like y'all told me to, and I don't know if there's new growth quite coming in on that yet. There is some sort of spike, but I don't see any like proper leaf yet, so we have time, but I think it is liking this position a little bit better than before, and it is still getting grow light there, so I guess we still have time to see before we know for certain. The rest of the stuff back here is just growing quite steadily. My variegated Monstera putting out lots of new growth. This like almost entirely white leaf. That's not ideal. I mean, it's beautiful. Tell me that's not an absolutely beautiful leaf. It is, but it won't be able to sustain its own life, so we'll see. This bit of new growth is growing a lot better, much more marbly in variegation, so much more stable. But I always knew that this half was a lot more prone to all white growth. Jumping inside of the cabinet. We've got so much going on in here. I am loving the cabinet at the minute. I genuinely think since I took the Regal out, I'm feeling so much better about this whole section, and I feel like I can see things better and get to them, and I'm not forgetting things as much because I can actually see what's going on with them. Like my Jade Satin variegated, I've just been watching the leaf on this one, watching the variegation develop, and it is beautiful. Ooh, got a new leaf on my Australis Lisa coming in. That's exciting. I've got my corms in here. The one on the left there looks like it is starting to properly grow, and my Alocasia Frydek variegata is in there too, but it's not doing anything. I do not know how happy that one is. Honestly, I don't think it is very happy, but it's okay. We will see how it goes in time. Splendid is so happy. It has gone off the top of the pole. I really need to extend it. I probably need to take this whole plant out of the cabinet because it's gonna keep growing so quickly. But, I mean, it just is so happy in here. Why would I want to move it quite yet? Then up top, it's also looking a lot more like free and open, which I'm loving. My begonia white ice, phenomenal. I love this in here so much. And I have fairly recently put new cuttings in the bottom, so it is looking very full at the minute, which I'm very much so enjoying. Oh my goodness, my New Guinea, not New Guinea ghost, my Globulosa Welsh Mountain Zoo. Look on the leaf on that. I'm gonna put some pictures in of what the leaf looked like right when it was coming out, and it was so ditty and tiny, and it has grown so fast. Look at that. So beautiful. And I don't know if you can see, but it is still fuzzy in there. Oh my goodness, the back of it is so soft. Oh, I love this plant so much. It's so cool. I'm so glad Claire gave me a cutting of it because it's so funky. It's like very reptilian looking, but when you feel it, it is the softest thing ever. I'm actually getting some new growth on my Queen of the Night as well. It'll focus on there. Look, so that whole piece there is new, and this bit I think is growing too, which is awesome. I don't know if I've seen roots on it yet. I don't quite see any. Oh, maybe a little one there, like a couple little ones here and there, but the fact that it's growing to me and not rotting makes me feel like we are in a really good place with this one, so that's exciting. Ooh, I've just spotted in the back there. You see that lighter bit on my Alocasia? I think that's my Alocasia reversa, this one. That looks like it's going to be a flower, so I might cut that off soon because I don't necessarily want it flowering. I'd rather produce new leaves, but I think that means it's happy enough. So hopefully we can get that off and a new leaf in there soon too. Got my little props down there in water, and they are doing pretty well in there. Nothing insane root wise. Can you see any in that one? Yeah, there's some roots in there, but not quite time yet to pot any of those up. They'll just stay in those for now. But yeah, that's like the main bit of what's happening in the cabinet. Nothing too crazy, but all fairly positive. An update on my Scindapsus box. Let me put it down somewhere that you can see it. It is actually flourishing right now. I'm getting some new leaves in there already. Nothing seems to be like unhappy with the change. I do need to give it a good water because it's been a minute since I watered it, but for the most part it is just looking really healthy and fresh in there, and the new growth is coming in, which makes me feel confident that I've done the right thing with this. And I do actually really like it. I like how it looks a lot. It normally sits up there on my cabinet, so I get to like see it still. Not necessarily the top of it, but hopefully once they start trailing down more, like the ones that already are, I'll get to enjoy it even more. I've actually done a little bit of shifting in this zone at the minute because I wanted to make room for this box of Alocasia polycorms that I'm trying to sprout in semi-hydro. I found loads and loads of loads. I haven't even counted them, there's just so many, and I wanted to try and sprout as many as I possibly could. And so I put some in the semi-hydro, which I think is my current favorite method, and then some in the shallow puddle, which was my old favorite method that hasn't been working very well for me lately, so we'll see how that works. But I've put them here basically so I can see them super duper well. This is kind of my area for that, for things that I want to pay a little bit more close attention to for the time being, like when I was needing to deal with my Peperomia Frost when it was suffering, and now it's like exploded in growth. Like honestly, I am so pleased with how this one has grown over the past, I guess, year now. It's just really come into its own and growing huge. I feel like it's at the point where I'm definitely going to be taking cuttings of this for the next London plant swap and giving some of them out. I have done the same movement wise by putting this Peperomia here. I don't remember off the top of my head what Peperomia this one is. I'll have to see if I can find it in an old video or something. But it was also suffering in the office shelves a bit before, and so I thought moving it here might do it a little bit better, because they are very similar, those two peperomias. They're both the sort of like, I don't even know what they're called. They're very similar peperomias, so that's good. I have so many peperomias in this zone. I feel like because I was trying to focus on them quite a lot, I just have a lot. I've got this little guy, the Frost, the Maculosa, the Quadrangularis, and the Sarcophylla here. I almost forgot, I've got the Hope at the back here too, which is doing okay. I probably could give it a slightly better spot. It's kind of tucked into that corner, but I've got so many in this zone and they're doing so well. I am forever obsessed with my Snow Queen pothos too. Like, it just keeps putting out beautiful, beautiful leaves. How can you not love that in a plant? And I don't even mind when it's putting out these sort of like greener ones, because it just adds more contrast to the ones that are so incredibly snowy marbled white. Hello, Miss Cleo. You sleep in the sunshine? You sleeping in the sunshine? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're so good, aren't you? Yeah. My Monstera over here has put out this new leaf, but I don't know, I don't feel like it's quite a step forward, since like after the last one, which I think technically had more splits and more variegation, this one feels like it might be going, not backwards, but I think maybe it's because it's not had a chance to stick to the top of the pole. Maybe I need to put a pole extension on there before I do anything else, because I would like it to get to its like bigger size a bit sooner, because I think that would look a lot nicer. The new leaf on my Bird of Paradise came out recently as well. Look how flat and green that is. It is still sizing up as well. It is not hardened off yet, and it is huge. So very, very pleased with that. And I honestly think my Ficus elastica Taniki is the happiest it has ever been existing in this zone. Basically, I had this as a huge, 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 huge plant years and years and years ago when I was in my old flat, and right before we moved, it had like huge spider mite issues, so I took top cuttings, treated those, and propped it, and this is the only one I had left, and it was so much smaller, and now it's actually getting to quite a decent size. I think it is liking this spot right by the window and getting loads of light, and looks very, very, very happy here. Moving on to the bedroom. Oh, I just love it when it's sunny in here, because like I can take my little crystals and make them make rainbows all over the place, and I'm obsessed with it. It's so beautiful, and it makes me so happy. Maybe that's contributing to how positive this video is. I feel like it's all been incredibly positive, but maybe I'm just feeling more confident with my collection in general at the minute. My Manjula pothos here once again has reached the top of its moss pole, and I guess the answer is to add more moss pole. Should I? And try and grow it even bigger than this? That would be awesome. I have like already made it go down, and it's coming up again, so it's obviously wanting to grow a lot. My Amplissimum up here, I don't know how I'm feeling about it, honestly. It's just kind of there, so maybe that means it needs to be one I consider like moving on from at some point, but like it is so pretty still. I do really like it. Do I actually really like it? I don't know. I don't know how I feel. But it is what it is. It's not bad. I still have not looked under a microscope with my Polyneura to see if it does still have flat mites. But I still haven't treated it yet. I'm going to be treating all of these hanging plants very, very soon, because I think I need to give them a good water as well. They probably deserve it. But it seems to be doing pretty well. I don't know if I've noticed much new growth necessarily. So maybe those blooms in the wintertime were death blooms, but it doesn't seem to be doing like horribly either. I'm really excited about this. My Marble Queen pothos has just been putting out so much new growth. I don't know like where it's come from, because this one has been struggling to grow for quite a while. Maybe it did have pests, and when I sulfur treated it, it got rid of them, but like, look at that. That is basically a Snow Queen leaf right there. And like the heavy marbling on these ones, it's just putting out so much more than it was before. And even one of these vines turned, like, it reverted completely. So I didn't think that this was a very healthy plant until now. It's just doing so well here. So I've not actually shown this one yet, but in my joining together phase, I've put together my Croniana Super Silver and my Croniana Splash into one pot because I didn't feel like I needed two Cronianas. So I think it's liking this a lot better, and I'm liking it as well. So hopefully these do well together. I don't see why they wouldn't. These are probably the only types of Hoya that I would think about putting together because they're both Cronianas and just different variegations of them. Maybe I would do it with Polyneura and Polyneura variegated as well, but I don't have any variegated Polyneura, so that's not a problem that I really have. My Hoya Pubicalix mix basket. I guess I did mix my Pubicalixes as well, so I guess I do mix some Hoyas, but they're all, again, the same type, so it doesn't really matter. It is putting out some new growth, and it's almost black how dark it is. Look at that. Also, the spots on this, like, splashy bits are going more purple because it is living in the window, kind of directly in direct sunlight when there is sunlight. Like today, it's getting quite a lot, and so all of those silvery bits are turning a really nice, beautiful purple. So I'm, again, glad this one is happy in its sort of new situation. I think my monkey tail is also putting out a little bit of new growth. You can see those lighter green tips. I feel like that is new stuff coming in. So I think it is liking its spot as well. Then we've got the area over the top of my desk where my fern leaf is hanging. I think it is putting out new growth. You can see it there. And I haven't seen thrips on it in a little bit, given I have not treated it since I last did see them. So maybe when I give all these hanging plants some water instead of sulfur fungiciding this one, I'll give it a bit of a Provanto treatment. So I know I've previously said I'm trying to stay away from Provanto and chemical pesticides, but because I've had such big issues with thrips in the past like 6 months, especially on some of my favorite plants like my fern leaf, I just kind of don't want to risk it, and so I'm being immensely careful when I do spray it. I'm making sure that I do it in my bathroom with a mask on and gloves, so it's not like getting on my hands. I'll wash my hands after even, and then close the door to make sure that Cleo doesn't have any access to it. Ideally, I would not be treating with chemical pesticides in my ideal world, but alas, it is something that I'm having to deal with. And at least while I'm doing the sulfur fungicide, I am not using predatory mites on anything. So once I'm finished with all of the sulfur fungicide treatments and I'm pretty sure I'm clear of everything pest-wise, I'm gonna come back in, I think, with my predatory mites and I guess do it right this time, because I feel like I didn't do it heavily enough last year. I have so many plants in my collection that I need to be buying quite a lot of sachets in order for it to be effective. So I might just like go really, really hard with a subscription and see if that works this year, instead of like going okay with the subscription and like crossing my fingers because I'm just being too cheap to like pay for enough to keep my collection happy. So while I don't necessarily condone the use of Provanto, it does work, and because it does work, I'm going to use it for the time being just on a couple of plants while I am dealing with like the really heavy infested stuff, because I'd rather do that than throw the plants away. This is honestly the first time I have ever seen my Hoya Crimson Princess properly grow as well. It's got its little tendril up there. It's on one of those Arca trellises, one of the clear acrylic ones. And I think it is very happy being closer to the grow light here. It's really loving that, and getting so much more out of life with that. So hopefully it is in a better spot, and maybe if it grows well enough I might be able to get it to bloom this year, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. People have said that the carnosas take a really long time to like acclimate and bloom in homes, so I might need to wait a few more years, but if I can do it this year, that would be awesome. Also, my fishbone cactus is putting out new growth. Look at that little thing, it's so squibbly. And down here as well, it does have the water spots on it already because I have treated this section with sulfur fungicide. I'm like getting back into that again, and this is one of the first sections I treated, so it's already got the sulfur on it, but there is new growth in here, and I'm excited to hopefully get this plant to be a really lovely hanging, zigzaggy, textural plant, hopefully this year, this summer time. In this corner, not too much is happening, I don't think. I lie. The Monstera Stendaliana here, it actually just put out its first non-damaged leaf in quite a while. I've been dealing with thrips on it for months now. You can just see the damage on all these leaves. It's not massive, but it's there. And it's been really annoying. So finally able to get a new leaf out of it that's not damaged, and I think it has been because I did spray it with a Provanto a couple times now, same as what I'm thinking with the fern leaf. It's like it just worked because this one had those like really aggressive terrible thrips on it, and other stuff just wasn't cutting it. And like with this plant you have to get like down deep in all of those little crevices, and it is an absolute pain in the ass. So I just kind of needed to use the big guns on this one, and I think it was definitely worth it because I'm getting some new good healthy growth on it. I'm not sure if I like my Warwick Rhiannon here long term. I mean, I like how it looks. I think it looks fantastic, but I don't know if it likes being here. I don't like, is that a tiny bit of new growth? I really can't tell. I don't think it is. Maybe it will be, but only time will tell on it. I just don't know where a better spot would be for this one at the minute, so for the time being it's going to stay here even if it's not the perfect spot for it. The plants up here I very recently sprayed with more sulfur spray to do the second round of my sulfur treatment on them. Not that I think they had the flat mites, but it's good to do. My combo Brazil cream splash is very happy actually. I think it is totally okay with this sort of change up. Like it's continuing to go, which is great. My Pothos Enjoy here is like just such a phenomenal plant. I really love this one. It just does so much. I love how like curly and funky and weird the leaves are, and it just always looks bushy. And I am very here for it. I'm also loving the way my Burle Marx is sort of starting to trail downwards. I think it looks quite cool trailing. It just kind of goes with the vibe, but it's got bigger leaves than all of the other trailing things. I'm hoping that I can get more this size, but I'm not sure because the leaves it's currently putting out are much smaller. The office is also very much so enjoying this sunny weather. Just look how happy these plants look in this corner. I mean, I'm gonna completely ignore my crystallinums, like weird ass funky leaf. I have no idea what it's doing, but it is the weirdest possible shape. I don't know. My Mame has put out some new growth at the minute there, and that leaf is new too. I did, however, notice a couple of baby thrips on this one, and I know this corner has been battling thrips on and off for quite a long time, the Mame especially, so I'm not surprised that it has had them. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on it, and maybe this section is gonna be one of the next sections I do the sulfur fungicide treatment on. I think it would quite like that. Well, I don't think I have shown y'all what I did with my Begonia Arabia Sunset here. I put it in a trough pot because I had a few different cuttings, and I just felt like I had quite a lot. And I actually have some propagations of this in the cabinet as well. You probably saw those. But I think it's quite liking it. Again, I've put it on one of those Arca trellises and kept it in semi-hydro, and now it's living here. And I feel like it's still living its best life, putting out big, beautiful leaves, new ones on the way fairly regularly, and doing just fine. Oh my goodness. So on my Dioscorea, let me see if I can turn it around. I've just gotten the most huge leaf grown in. Look at that. It is massive. It is pretty much the same size as the leaf that I got on my original cutting, and it's growing so well. I think this one for me just needs to be in semi-hydro because, like the Cissus Discolor, it just needs to stay constantly moist in order for these leaves to grow in. Otherwise, it's just a very, very unhappy plant. But the fact that I'm able to get this huge leaf, I'm really, really pleased with that. Everything else in this section is doing just okay. I have gotten rid of several philodendrons from here lately that I've just like not been vibing with as much. And I am still working on getting rid of some more that they're just not for me, I don't think, in the end, which is absolutely fine. I've just figured that out. It's not that I've gone off philodendrons completely. Like, this is the Mexicanum here. I've not gone off them completely. I just don't feel like they're quite for me anymore. I don't know, I'm feeling very, very picky about them lately, so I'm not really acquiring many more unless they've been on my wish list for quite a long time. I'd much prefer to acquire like other things that I'm feeling a bit more in love with. Like a little Hoya. This is my Hoya Carrii in water at the minute, and it's definitely rooted in there. I could probably pot this one up at this point because it doesn't need to root in water much longer. But I've just been procrastinating on that one. My Peperomia zone over here is doing quite well. My little Freckles over there, and some at the back. This one you can't even see because it's fully enclosed in condensation, but there's some little leaves in there which are doing quite well. I should also show y'all these, one sec. So these are my snake plant cuttings that I've just got in a tiny cup of water. These two are the Metallica, that's the Bantel Sensation. We're gonna ignore this one because it's not doing anything. But holy cow, y'all. Do you see how rooted those are? They are incredibly rooted in there. I am astonished at how well that they are doing. I think I'm gonna leave them in this cup of water until they start putting out new growth. I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but that's just kind of the feeling that I'm getting from them. It feels like the right thing to do, but I am just astounded at how well these are coming in growth-wise. My Curly Q jungle cactus, I really don't know what it's called. I'll put it on the screen, I've forgotten at the time, but it has put out some new growth as well. This is actually the first new growth I've had on this one, but it's such a funky little curly jungle cactus and adds like a fun bit of texture to this zone too. And then I've had a rearrange of the plants that live on Joe's desk. It's mostly Alocasias at the minute, oh my goodness, with the Mitchelletiana, the Alocasia Polly here, and the Alocasia Dragon Scale. This is the one I joined the two together. Oh my goodness, you can really see the difference in those two leaves. There's two different types of dragon scale in there, but they're lovely. Also putting out a gorgeous new leaf. Looks to be a big one too, so that's gonna be very exciting. I also, in a recent Patreon video, joined together my Alocasia Polly mama and babies in quite a big semi-hydro pot, and so it needed a place to go, and this is kind of the only zone that a plant this like big pot-wise can fit. So it's gone here, and I'm hoping it likes it. It's so shiny at the minute because I just pest treated it when I repotted it in the video, and so it's not got the sulfur spots, so I'm trying to enjoy it while it lasts when I do eventually treat this section of plants again. Mitchelletiana just chilling here, absolutely fine. And as per usual, my banana plant is just constantly pushing out new growth. literally all the time. It's got some new growth on there, and even the small one down here is putting out tons, and so it is much happier. I don't know if this is the best place for it, but for now, it is kind of the only space that it fits. This one, this plant monitor, is the only one of the plant monitors that doesn't work, which is kind of annoying. So 3 of the 4 work, this one doesn't. I was hoping that this one would, obviously, because I paid for it, but I think it'd be good to have a plant monitor in this one because I probably need to be watering my banana plant more than I do. So it would be beneficial, but for now, I just have to keep going off what I have and maybe try and water it just a little bit more. The area on top of my Rudsta is looking very empty at the minute, purely because I have taken so much stuff off of here, like the Alocasia Poly. I think this light, the Grow Green one, it's just a little bit too close and bright to these plants, except for the ones that really like a lot of sunlight. So this ficus is absolutely loving the amount of grow light it's getting. And I think that the Sansevieria here is too. And even these ones, what are these? I think they're Senecios. I'll put the thing on the screen, but these have just popped off. The variegated one hasn't as much, but that's kind of not a surprise just because it is variegated, so it requires a little bit more light to pop off, but they're doing really well. Oh, also, look at that! My Branchifolia Pink Passion, putting in another leaf, putting in the good work over here. Happy, happy plants. Very happy. I'm very glad about that. And then last but not least, the inside of the Rudsta is doing really well too. My dead stick plant. I'm pretty sure when I got it, it was like that tall, and all of this is new growth. I think it's even putting out little flowers. Are those flowers? I don't know. They don't look like the normal new growth on the top, so I'm not sure, but it is growing phenomenally. This Senecio is also just popping off. And just in general, things are feeling happy and healthy. Oh, my little African milk tree. Look at those little bits of new growth on there. Oh, so exciting. I'm just really pleased with this whole cabinet, and things are doing well and are fairly happy in here. So that is so, so good. So that is it. That is everything going on in my collection right now. I honestly just feel like things are doing so much better. I'm feeling so much more positive about things now that I have gotten rid of quite a few plants. My out list is so much fuller than my in list. I have been really making sure that I'm getting plants out of my home into new homes and being quite brutal with it, but brutal in a good way because it's allowed me to reignite my love for my plants a little bit. I think also the sun is helping. When it's sunny, I just love everything a lot more, and I'm just generally more positive, so that helps. But yeah, I think getting rid of plants has genuinely made things a lot easier for me, and I'm less like stressed about having to take care of my collection. I'm more just enjoying the fun parts of it and getting things done, and even the unfun parts like pest treating, I'm still doing it and like getting it over with and just making sure everything's done in good time, and yeah, hoping that this year does much better for me now that I'm like properly thinking in terms of getting my collection a little bit more manageable. So yeah, that is it. That is everything. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. If I mentioned anything here that you'd be interested in hearing more about or seeing more of, let me know and I can hopefully do that for you in the future, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!